This is just politics 101. The Democrats are so bad at it. Right now in Georgia, as I'm talking, the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States are in Georgia campaigning on voting rights reform. It's an issue where it's the Democrats themselves who cannot pass the voting rights reform legislation because of Democrats. On CNN a short time ago, they had the head of the Georgia Latino Elected Officials Association, Gallio, go on and explain why they're boycotting the event. In the New York Times, there's an article about black progressive organizations, Black Votes Matter, and others who are refusing to show up at the event. Stacey Abrams is boycotting the event. All the Democrats boycotted it. The Martin Luther King Jr.'s own family says it was a difficult decision to decide whether or not to go. The Republicans should not be as bad at politics as the Democrats are on this issue. You have an issue handed to you on a silver platter, and are you too stupid to seize on it? Doug Ducey, the governor of Arizona, and the Arizona Republicans in charge of their legislature are grabbing hold of the issue of education freedom. They want to expand charter schools. They want to expand opportunities for children to go to private schools. They want the money that comes from the state to local governments to follow this child, not the schools. Arizona Republicans are doing it. Why the heck are Republicans in every state not doing this? Now, I get it. In some states, constitutions matter, and in some states, the Republicans can't do it because of the structure of their constitution. But in every single state, there are ways to make things happen. There are ways to make this happen. Why are Republicans not doing this everywhere? In my state of Georgia, in your state of Texas, wherever you are, Republicans should be doing this. You give the parents school choice as an entitlement and dare the Democrats to take it away. So what the Democrats did with Obamacare, it's what the Democrats have done with every entitlement. The Democrats create an entitlement and dare Republicans to rein it in, thinking Republicans will lose. And oftentimes, the Republicans who campaign against these things, they do lose. And guess what? Democrats nationwide are so in the pocket of left-wing teachers' unions, they can't support school choice. They must openly campaign on ending school choice, even in Georgia, where I am. The beloved Saint Stacy of the stolen election campaigns against charter schools and the Opportunity Scholarship, the closest Georgia has ever come to having school choice. If the Republicans tackle this issue, particularly as schools are closed, particularly as people are remote, it hurts the Democrats. That issue hurt Stacey Abrams in 2018. It'll hurt her again. If the Republicans expand school choice in the state, the hysteria from the teachers, and in Georgia, by the way, they don't have active teachers unions. In Georgia, they don't have powerful teachers unions. It's a right-to-work state, but they still have organized groups. And they can scream and they can complain, but I go back to the days of Nathan Deal in Georgia. For those of you outside of the state, you may not know him. He was a congressman. He was a Democratic congressman. He became a Republican governor in Georgia. And he tried to expand charter schools in Georgia. And the Georgia Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional. The only thing Nathan Deal could do was a constitutional amendment. And he was able to get that through the state legislature. At the time, the Republicans had a supermajority in the legislature. And the Democrats said, if you do this, we'll come get you. And the Democrats campaigned against charter schools. The way the law would work under that constitutional amendment was that if a local school board refused to allow a charter school, the state could do it. The NAACP campaigned against it. The teachers' unions campaigned against it. The teachers' groups campaigned against it. Nationally, teachers' unions poured money into the state to kill the measure. Black ministers throughout metro Atlanta campaigned against it, saying it would destroy the schools. The Democrats nationally came to Georgia, made it a big issue. Barack Obama tried to intervene to kill the issue. It was black mothers, black moms from the inner city in Atlanta who voted, 2/3 of them, with the Republicans to get charter schools in the state of Georgia, to get a constitutional amendment to allow charter schools. It was black mothers who voted with the Republican Party because they want their children to get a better education, because they know They know that if their child can get a good education, they can compete on the world stage with everybody else. The mind is a terrible thing to waste, and so many minds are being wasted in public schools, and all moms and dads want is for their children to have better lives than they themselves have. Every generation of Americans has wanted their kids to have a better life, and we are at the point in this country where it's not going to happen unless we can give education freedom to parents around the country, unless we can open doors that unions and Democratic politicians are keeping closed. And they're not, as Doug Ducey said in Arizona, they're not keeping the doors closed to keep people out. They're keeping the doors closed to keep them in. Break the doors open. Let them out. Let them get choice. It's a no-brainer. It is a winning issue for Republicans nationwide. Look to Florida, a state that's always been viewed as a swing state is now a lock for the GOP because the Democrats, they can't help themselves. They always campaign against school choice. They always campaign against reforming Jeb Bush's rules, rolling back what Jeb Bush did. Jeb Bush, the great education reformer in Florida, everybody should follow his lead. You may not like him because of current partisan times we're in, but that man turned Florida decisively into a Republican state by allowing parents choices in education everyone else had denied them. Republicans everywhere. You want to win? Here's your issue. You don't want to win? Well, have I got a sign for you?